Oh boy. Hey, this is Dream Warrior 70
7-0.
with Chris is back.
I'm here again.
What movie did we just watch, Chris?
The Bridge of Spies.
Directed by who made this movie?
Stefan Spielberg.
Stefan Spielberg.
Spielberg.
Okay,
Spielenstein.
it's time to discuss this movie, and we are going to hit that music, and we are jumping right into it, into the deep end of Bridge of Spies. We're back.
Oh,
That's it. We're back.
I quit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we like everything. We do things quick. Chris and I are. Cheers, my friend. Why? What are we drinking too, Chris? Tell everyone what we're drinking.
What we're drinking?
Mm-hmm.
We are drinking good coffee with some
With some Reese's peanut butter cup.
Yeah, creamer.
Okay, and I needed coffee after the movie we just watched.
Yeah, it was a little snooze fest.
So,
to be honest,
I think. Tell me if you disagree. I think I pinpointed it when we were watching it. Mm-hmm. Like the concept for Bridge of Spies doesn't seem Spielberg. Doesn't seem Spielbergian. If a filmmaker has like a brand and like an impression, which is a part of his artistry, Bridge of Spies doesn't connect to what we think Spielberg represents. I don't know. Like, would you agree with that?
I would say so. It didn't feel like every other Spielberg movie that I've seen.
Yeah.
I haven't seen all of them, but
yeah,
from what I have a taste for.
Even like the more dramatic ones. So like the non-early 80s Spielberg movies. Like I went through this with episode 69, which would be Raiders of the Lost Ark, Jaws, Close Encounters, Temple of Doom. Like those are the ones that really define Spielberg in the early 80s. Yeah. And then he, went off and experimented, did more dramatic movies that were more, I believe, just on the byline, like more poignant and had a point. Like meaning, Empire of the Sun had like a very clear, like intent. I don't know if you ever saw that, or The Color Purple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Schindler's List.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Saving Private Ryan.
Yep, another good one.
And his dramatic failures, or his like off-key potential failures, would be, I would put this movie in the same category as The Terminal, which is another Tom Hanks movie that he made. I would definitely group this together with Amistad.
Okay.
Where the overall idea of Amistad, it's hard to tell people what that movie's about and for them to like get excited to watch it.
Yeah. Well, and to be honest with you, in categorizing those different flicks of his, I think that, like you said, it fits into the category of the Terminal as to where it's, kind of just not didn't. Yeah,
I saw the Terminal one time. Mm-hmm. And I was excited to see it because it was close to the release of Catch Me If You Can. Mm-hmm. And you just, Catch Me If You Can it's a lightening idea. Mm-hmm. It's a great idea. Yeah. Like the youngest teenage con man that flew around the world and never paid for anything and just stumbled his way through the world until he got arrested by French police while duplicating checks in a giant
warehouse.
In a giant press
on Christmas Eve.
That took 20 guys to operate, and like he was the only one working it.
Running around like a madman. Well, and what I wanted to say, I think that it didn't perform. I think that it's set up for the idea that it would be kind of in the same zone as like or at least what I thought, like because with the historic value of like a Schindler's List, Saving Private Ryan. Yeah, I was expecting more of that kind of.
I was expecting a little bit of a speed for this, meaning like it somewhat being procedural there would be like maybe some unraveling of like nuance and detail in the procedure that was happening, meaning that, you know, like it's a lawyer, he's representing someone during the Cold War, he's unpopular, and these are very basic ideas. Like, I think that's more of an angle for this movie.
Yeah.
Is the Tom Hanks character being ostracized by society, if I can say that, really being put as like he's the outcast.
Yeah,
but
because there was the hunt for communists at that time, and he was almost categorized. You know,
yeah.
I think they even might have said it in the movie. Like, it was like, oh, you know, what do you? I forget. What was the judge or whatever.
Right, like even the judge in the movie was like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah,
like,
what are you doing? What are you thinking?
So real quick, like we're just going to highlight this disappointment. No, I have no problem keeping things short when movies are disappointments, as long I think that the task of Dream Warriors is to pinpoint exactly why the movie didn't work. Yeah. Okay, and I don't care if that takes 5 minutes or if it takes 50. So the whole concept for this movie is based on real events. A U-2 spy plane, which was developed by Howard Hughes, my boy. These were unleashed over Russia. They flew multiple missions.
Yeah, reconnaissance missions. Good. Yeah.
And during one of them, at 70,000 feet, it gets shot down by surface-to-air missiles. This guy ejects, doesn't blow up, doesn't self-destruct the airplane, doesn't kill himself when he lands.
As procedure calls for.
Right.
Which, although it did seem like they tried to kind of give him the excuse of like he couldn't reach the button, which seemed very
right. I almost feel like if you didn't kill yourself when you landed as you were instructed to, why would you blow it up? Like if you don't have the grit to kill yourself, like when when it's easiest, you don't have the balls to hit that switch when you're going down to self-destruct the U-2. I'm just saying, like if you can't do one, you're not going to do the other. Like, I think but anyway, so he gets shot down, and Tom Hanks is the lawyer. He's also following marching orders. He's the lawyer that's negotiating a prisoner swap, a spy swap, a bridge of spy swap, and he's like this negotiator, and he's releasing. He wants this, and this college kid released. Yeah. So they're trading spies.
Story, it wasn't just
some
the spy
dumb college kid that
as they were constructing the Berlin Wall.
And it's kind of funny because I don't have his name in front of me, but when I was watching that, I kept thinking of the North Korean college kid that they captured because he was stealing posters from the hotel. Yeah, like he wanted like a souvenir, so they arrested him and tortured him, and then sent him back to the U.S. and he died like a few days later. Like that's kind of like I was watching that and I'm like, fuck, man. Like, like being a parent and having your kid overseas, it's gotta be like it's always gotta be nerve wracking. It's gotta be scary because there's no like guarantee that even the government's going to protect your child.
No, it's frightening, and that's the thing. My cousin had gone over multiple times to Spain. I traveled around, taught for different lengths of time. I think 6 months at a time and such. Is actually still over there now, but fairly recently when I think there was like the bombing in Paris and stuff like that. Madrid. I'm sorry, Madrid. She was over there. They weren't able to make communication and stuff like that. So, like you said, it's definitely a. My aunt and uncle were ready to take the flight. You know what I mean? They already had the tickets booked, but then communication was made and everything was okay. But you never know.
Yeah,
in this day and age with the social climate.
Yeah, well, everything's social climate. So I'm trying to dig up this dude's name, and I have an article, and the article is not even.
Because I remember the vague details of what you're talking about.
Otto Warmbiers. Yeah, I think that's the guy's name. No, I don't think this is the right one. I don't know. Anyway, but so like I thought I think the movie portrayed everything like historically accurate. Like I don't think there was many missteps on that. I thought the performances were good. The music was good. It looked good. Okay, yeah. It was shot well. It was like I think it was planned out well. Like, but at the end, I think the failure is that this was this should have been a big idea movie for Steven Spielberg, and I think for Spielberg needs to like have this momentum behind like what he's doing, and this movie kind of had shades of it. What you and I, the things you and I commented about the most was how bad communist Russia is, and what you saw of the division of North and East, like East and West Berlin, like or East and West Germany, where like we saw the wall going up. I thought that was cool.
That was
where they were just like putting the wall up, like right there. Yeah, and you're like, damn, like.
And there is a lot, like something to be said for
and
Spielberg.
They're using cinder blocks.
Yeah,
and I'm like, why can't we do that? Like it's just cinder blocks.
Come on, Donald. This is
and that thing was there for like years.
Yeah,
like and it kept people out. Right.
But I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh no, I was going to say. So like, I thought this when we saw those things, to me that was like, wow, like that's eye opening. I thought that's more of the draw of the movie is the stark contrast between what communism is like being in communism versus and I just didn't feel like if this movie went hard into that and this other thing was like a backstory.
Yes.
Like or like the plot device to put Tom Hanks there so he sees the difference. We would have a really good movie, but it doesn't go far enough into the statement of communism where it should make a statement because communism kills. It's like it's the ideology that has killed the most people in human history. So it doesn't go hard enough into that, and then. By the time he comes home at the end of the movie, like you kind of don't care, and he's on the train and he's seeing like America, so like, and you're like you just don't care. Like you kind of, you were supposed to feel something by that point, and it didn't even feel nationalistic. It didn't even feel prideful, and this is weird. Like you should definitely feel that.
And the big thing I wanted to address with you is the. And I had mentioned it during the movie, was he made it, like you said, you're supposed to see that contrast, or I think that you're supposed to see that contrast to communism and, the different way of life that we see, as Americans, as opposed to, the time and all that. And I don't think that it got the differences across as much because I mentioned to you during the one scene that they were delegating, it almost seemed like, or one court scene with the Russians, and it seemed like they were more sympathetic than the Americans. The Americans were this cold-blooded cutthroat, send this old guy away for 30 years, and then they show a scene in the Russian court system, this court-martial, and the prisoner of war is on trial, and they sentence him to 10 years as opposed to the 30 years that this old guy was going to get in America. 10 years and 3 years served? Like three, it was like he said something like 3 years served consecutive or so,
Yeah, it was like 3 years for 7 years hard labor. And I think combined he served 2. He was there for 2 years before they got, which was hard to like you didn't get the sense of time in this movie at all. Which I feel like that was well, you know what? Like as
they did reference it after the trial, they did jump time.
Yeah, and to like move the narrative along, like I'm kind of fine with that. But it
didn't speed it along fast enough.
Yeah, and I think So you and I got sick about the length of this movie, and you and I were almost done watching it. I said it and I meant it, and I was waiting for you to back me up. I said, I think we're going to stop watching this when the U-2 thing gets shot down, when they shoot down the U-2 spy plane, because it took us so long just to even get to that point.
Just to get to and
took us too long.
And we knew this. The sad part is we didn't have the trailer for the movie available to us, so all we did was read the description, and the description pretty much, I'll read it right now. In dramatic thriller, inspired by true events.
Nailed.
Tom Hanks stars as Jonathan. Blah blah blah. thrust in the center of the Cold War when the CIA sends him to a near impossible mission to negotiate the release of captured American U-2 pilot.
Yeah.
So you know what's going to happen. You know, the whole movie, there was no mystery, nothing.
Yeah, it's so like we knew what was going to happen. Like as the beats, like there was no real like surprises. We were just like, okay, like let them just like when you know something's coming and it's so obvious when you're watching a long movie, it's painful because you're waiting for it to happen. And it's kind of funny where, like, people say, like, this is the problem with prequels, like something like Rogue One, where, like, you watch Star Wars Rogue One and it takes place right before Star Wars Episode 4, New Hope, like the original Star Wars, and it leads right in, like, into that. Like, you kind of know the fate of everyone. Like, you kind of know what's happening. But, like, no. Like, Rogue One is a movie where you knew like everything that was going to happen, and that movie was nothing but surprising, like through and through. And you're like, yeah, and so you can know the outcome and still weave like an interesting tale, and that's the point I'm making.
Absolutely, yeah. And hold it. That's the thing. I can still hold interest in a movie that I know the outcome of, and I could. I mean, I've rewatched a lot of movies that I love. And it, you know, so lack of surprise there, but I'm still encapsulated by the storyline, by the way it's executed. There's still subtle nuances that you don't catch, you know, the first time, the second time. As to where this time, this movie, I felt like I had every shot was so extended and so dragged out that I mean,
a lot of it seemed to be, a lot of it, to interrupt, a lot of it did seem elongated.
Yeah.
And a lot of
which it seemed like for cinematic effect, you know what I mean? Because it was beautifully shot. It looked nice, but I'm not going to sit there and stare at this really long, you know, transition shot through, you know.
I mean, what you think are the takeaways from this movie? Like, what would you like? Let's say someone only has like a few movies in their collection, and this is one of them.
Okay.
And like they kind of put it on, and you have to watch it again.
Okay.
So like, what would you look forward to like experience again if you saw this?
Yeah.
Like,
what positive can I pull out of this? Well, I think the historical value of it, the storyline that it went, you know, it like you said, it was neat seeing the progression of the Cold War, the whole. I'm going to say this again. Social climate of that time.
I'm going to interrupt you real quick.
Go ahead.
I'm just going to say, it's fine to say nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
I
know because I'm reaching here.
I think outside of how they portrayed communism, as raw and real as it was, that is the only takeaway. I think any patriotic pride in the Constitution and the court system was merely mentioned, was not highlighted enough. I
don't think there was enough detail in terms of like I was expecting more. You expect in terms of a spy movie, you expect a little bit more to peek behind the screen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And learn a little bit.
And they kind of teased that he was being spied on by Russia still when the guy made the Saxon Fifth Avenue reference about the coat.
Yeah.
And like that's where I was almost like, all right, like they're going to go deeper. He's going to be out of his element, and we're really going to see like the stretch of communist Russia.
Yeah.
Like we're going to see how ruthless they are and what this guy's really up against. And we like didn't get that. I mean, I really thought this movie could have went tougher, could have went harder. Like you really could have seen the desperation of these people.
And another thing is the conflict between Tom Hanks' character, Donovan, is it? Yeah, Donovan. His character and the whoever his connection was from the CIA in Berlin. His guy that basically they send him over as a non-U.S. agent. You know what I mean? Just as a private citizen, so that way the United States has deniability of this taking place and whatnot. And then, but so they tell him that they want him to try to negotiate the release of 2 people, but if they can release the one, that's the main objective. He goes into it. The guy, the other agent, he's like, we're good. You got the, you were able to get the release of the the soldier, the spy plane soldier. That's all we need. Blah blah blah. And Tom Hanks is just like, oh well, no, I'm gonna go and renegotiate anyway. Like fuck, forget that. I'm gonna go do whatever I want to do. And he's like, no, you can't. And he's like, oh, I'm gonna do it anyway. Like it was like there was no authority. Like there was no like. Where's the conflict?
Like I didn't buy the conflict even internally that Tom Hanks had with the State Department and his people. I even think this movie was referenced Eisenhower. Eisenhower was president, I think. Mm-hmm. Was that? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Eisenhower. Yeah. If I looked at, but it's like I would have liked to to even like define that. Let me hold up. Let me look it up real quick. It was Eisenhower. Okay. Like so, we don't even know who was like president during this time.
The timeline could have been set better. Yeah. And I think that would have. I mean, I don't know personally because I'm not older, but people that might have been, older people, like, baby boomer stuff like that.
Yeah, oh my God.
Yeah, that's the sad part.
Yeah, baby boomers are boomed.
They boomed on out.
The boom. Yeah, so I don't know. I think you and I, we struggled to watch it. Mm-hmm. We had some really good jokes during the movie. We made fun of a lot of things. Mm. I think that made the movie more enjoyable.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the banter back and forth, I think I would have been asleep.
The movie definitely would put me to sleep if you weren't here to watch it with me.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. I would have been. Yeah, I would have snoozed. And that's the thing. It is no joke that we had to brew this coffee because I would have been. I was really. It's almost one of them movies that I would just pop on in the background and not pay attention to.
Well, it's very slow moving.
Yeah.
Like it's just like I'm trying to go through like some of his like other movies that I would compare this to, but The Terminal really is the one that stands out that there was no desire to see that movie again. And no. I usually like
because it was anticlimactic. Yeah. If I remember right.
Yeah.
The Terminal, because he didn't have a country, right?
Yeah,
and he was kind of bouncing around.
Yeah, what the stupid concept of a movie that is.
Yeah.
It was. It's like that movie's almost like he's hanging out with Tom Hanks, and Tom Hanks is like, hey, like, wouldn't it be cool if I was this type of character and I played like it's almost like an actor's movie. Like I want to play Ace Ventura. It's like, okay, that's a funny character. What can you do with Ace Ventura? It's like, oh, I don't know. Like, I'm a pet detective. Like, oh, right. Okay, all right, okay, like, okay, like we like the character. It's a goofy concept. Okay, we can put some money in this. It's like
for you,
yeah. Okay. And he's like, I'm gonna be Ace Ventura. It's like and Tom Hanks is like, I'm going to be a weird European guy with no country. With Catherine Zeta-Jones in the airplane terminal, and because I'm an actor, I'll make it work. It's like, no, man. But yeah. So I don't know. Like, and so as you know, like my setup for this was that when I did Dream Warrior 69, I just finished watching the Steven Spielberg documentary that infuriated me because I feel like it didn't go into detail about his missteps, which have been his last maybe 10 years.
Okay.
So he really hasn't been able to connect with audiences for a long time. And he's made a wide stretch of movies, and some of these movies are Oscar baity. This was Oscar bait. The Post that just came out, Oscar bait. We watched the trailer for Lincoln, big Oscar bait. Big BFG. I always think it stands for Big Effing Giant, but it's Big Friendly Giant. Big Friendly Giant was a collaboration with the Disney Company based on the book by Ronald Dahl, who wrote Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory and Matilda. Yeah. He's of that fame. That was to reestablish him being this youthful, capturing the E.T. magic again. He fails with that. He fails with these Oscar bait movies. None of them have even The Post doesn't have a big concept. Lincoln doesn't have a big angle, doesn't have a big take. Spielberg directing Lincoln doesn't resonate as much as Oliver Stone directing Nixon. Because Stone is heavy on conspiracy theories and alternate history, and you're like, and Nixon fits that perfectly, and you're like, Stone's directing Nixon. Even Oliver Stone directing the George W. Bush movie, the W, you're like Stone shows like effing and drugs, and he's not afraid to do show cocaine lines, and he's doing W. Like, you put all these things together, so. I don't know, this movie confirmed my fear of where I was when I did episode 69, which was Spielberg has lost the magic. That documentary completely failed in portraying the modern day Spielberg. It only focused on the 80s Spielberg, which was nonstop hits.
Well, of course, and that's it was more of a fluff piece, I guess.
It was just stroking them.
Just straight,
and the people who are doing the commentary within the commentary, making these comments, they're just doing these platitude statements. Fellow directors, fellow actors, it drives me nuts, but. Yeah, I'm just happy even now just saying, look, this movie is a 2-hour, 20-minute dribble of a disappointment that doesn't go American enough. It doesn't teach you about communism enough. It doesn't draw the contrast enough. It doesn't make a bet. It just feels vanilla. It feels like the girl from last Wednesday night. Just couldn't get it up.
Just couldn't do it.
I just couldn't do it. It was a wet noodle. You wet noodled me.
It should be working.
But I've been watching my gay porn all night. I got nothing.
I was prepared.
Yeah.
It killed me the length of the movie for what, and because like I said, I don't have a problem with long movies, but that you couldn't go into more detail and get more descriptive. Really draw me into the plot, make it more. I feel like it was just lacking that substance.
One of the females the other day was finishing up her homework because some of them still have homework.
Hey y'all.
Okay, and she shoots me a text message. She goes, Pete. She didn't say Pete, but hey Pete.
Hey Pete.
Hey, Peter. Okay. She goes, I'm watching Netflix. I'm taking a break from studying, and I'm putting on Netflix. I want to watch a documentary. What can I watch? And I said, look. Watch The Founder or The Polka King, which are two biographical movies based on true stories that are great, and they're run like documentaries.
Okay.
Meaning that you're just learning things with every scene as it marches along. They're great movies to watch. The Polka King, believe it or not, will make you love America. Will make you love this country.
Yeah.
The Founder will make you love capitalism and cheeseburgers. Will make you love it. Okay,
more than I already do.
You watch that movie, you want to eat McDonald's the entire time you're watching that movie.
A different effect than Supersize.
Yeah, dude. She texted me while she was watching The Founder. She goes, "I want a cheeseburger so bad." It's the movie captures you like that, and along the way, you learn about the pain that Ray Kroc went through to make that. You watch The Polka King, and you learn about how hard it is to really achieve the American dream. What you really have to do, even when you think you're doing it.
Yeah.
Okay? Netflix should have documentaries on both. I know they have a documentary on The Polka King, so you can watch the documentary, which is a good hour, and then you can watch the movie. Okay. And they should have I thought they had a McDonald's documentary that you could watch with The Founder.
Oh, okay.
But the Founder does a jab that's anti-capitalistic at the end, in their end cards.
Yeah.
Okay. But both of those movies, I think, are very successful. This movie should have read like that.
Yeah.
They should have read every single scene. You're learning something that's marching on. I felt like it could have been trimmer, slimmer, tougher, and harder. Yeah. Just in what it was portraying. And I really didn't like that they were soft on this guy being a Russian spy. And you and I both kind of said that. Even with that end card where Russia's like, they still haven't acknowledged he's a spy. Like, why would they ever?
Yeah. And
like what do you mean?
Yeah, that's their
like,
job.
So what? They eventually would say like, "Hey, this guy was like
you were right.
Yeah, you got us."
Listen, when you're at the poker table, when you fold, do you show them what cards you have? No. You know, you keep up appearances and you move on.
Even when the Russian Federation was created and Russia turned, you know, like okay, it would never admit it. It would never admit it. Like these countries are so corrupt. The statistics we think we know from some of them, we don't know because it's against the law in some of these countries to even report someone of dying of starvation. You can't do that as a doctor. You have to come up with another cause of death. So that's how crazy these countries are. And it was such Spielberg went soft with Munich, okay, which is another movie that he could have nailed because it has a big idea. And Munich was the assassination of these Israeli wrestlers, okay? And they were killed. They were killed at the Olympics, okay, in their hotel. And these guys went out. I think they were Mossad, which is like the Israeli CIA. The Mossad went out and they killed like 9 of the 11 guys or something. Okay, they found the guys that were like in it. Okay, and killed them. And that movie could have just taken this hardcore stance on there is a black and white, there is right and wrong, there is evil in this world, and sometimes the evil needs to be found and eliminated. And he doesn't do that anymore, which is weird because that's what made Schindler's List so effing good.
And that's what kind of threw me off about this is that where, you don't catch an opinion. It's so neutral.
Yeah.
From the beginning, you don't mind this spy guy. First, you want to learn a little bit more. I thought that you might learn a little bit more about the espionage.
I thought because like him with the queen with and the thing, you're like
the intro.
You're like spy shit's awesome.
Yeah.
Spy. No.
Intro is like a 10-minute scene of him walking and through the town,
which was a little tough.
It was tough to get through just that scene because it's basically like he's losing a tail and then getting some secret spy note under the bench. But that was it. That was all.
We were hard. We were tough. It was hard for us to watch this movie as soon as it started because it didn't have zip. It really didn't have any zip.
Yeah, and basically, if I could take anything out of what he's trying to get across in this movie is that at the end of the day, regardless communism or capitalism, we're all the same. We're just people. He's a soldier. We got soldiers. We're espionage. They're espionage. And, it's like, come on. No. That's not what it is. Us losing information to them is it may take our lives. It may ruin our way of life.
Yeah.
And if they seem so sympathetic to it, that seemed disturbing to me.
Yeah,
but I think that I don't know.
This movie should have hardline things. It was in position to hardline things. It was in position to show you the difference between America and everyone else. And it takes place in the time where that it was very important to understand that during the time. And this movie just was like, no, let's just be the P word and be soft on it. And whatever. But yeah, I mean, like I think
that's from
I think we're done. I think we're done unless you have any parting words.
Nah, just that. I mean,
how about this? Before we hit that exit music, tell everyone what the little man doing. What is Dallas doing right now, Chris?
Well, Dallas is curled up in a ball on the bed next to the big dice.
People have to understand that I have giant dice on the bed.
I love because anything descriptive in this apartment can just sound a little bit outlandish.
It just sounds nuts.
But the dice next to the Christmas lights, what?
Yeah, right. The hanging Christmas light string, the movie light, the movie lamp, and the dice, and everything's also gray camo, including Dallas to some degree.
Yeah.
But so Dallas is sleeping. He's not thrilled. So I'll post a picture. Anyone that wants to follow me, Instagram, AKAPAD13, Snapchat, AKAPAD, Twitter, AKAPAD, website, AKAPAD.com, Facebook, Peter A. DeLuca, You can find me there. Chris, how about you?
Well,
what do you got?
On Instagram, I am DOCWATSO.
There you go. And you've been posting more lately. I think you got the posting bug.
Yeah, get more active back in the social media. That and Facebook, Christopher Watson. You can find me on there.
Yeah, I always told you, if you get down to posting, you'll always get girls.
I know.
Girls, because you know why? Because women believe you post for them, and they believe they're like watching you, and you're posting for them. It's like it's a little bit how that psychology works. And I say, if you want girls, post like a chick, and boom.
Well, and you know, and to say about that, the way I look at it is, if I'm going window shopping for a lady, or ladies, if I'm going on the social media train, I want to see as much activity, get the best idea for a person, or how they like to portray themselves as possible. You know what I mean?
I like it. Right now too, I want you to smile, because we're going to do one of my Instagram chats right there. Yeah, get into business. We're recording and Instagramming right now. Boom, that's a good one.
Nice, right?
Yeah, we're good. Excellent. All right, Chris. Well, hey, it was nice hanging out with you.
Yeah,
it was
good.
Good.
Give me a good smile there. One for the road. There we go.
It was nice doing my second episode with you.
Yeah, this was a pleasure. Well, it's going to be more frequent.
Yeah, more common. I mean, at least have you over once a week.
I think that would be a good,
at least once a
way
week.
to get in the groove of things,
and in some weeks, more than once.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, signing off now.
All right.
See
Thanks
ya.
for having me.